Today is a new opportunity to accomplish your incredible. So let's wake up each day with a fresh mindset necessary for you to win. I welcome you to Rise and Shine. Morning motivation for the girl boss with author, speaker, and founder of the Prestige Society, Nicole Doss. Let's jumpstart your morning now. Good morning. I am so excited that you have decided to join me on this journey of Rise and Shine with Nicole Doss. I'm sorry I could not come up with a snazzier name. This is what you get, because what are we doing? We are doing just that. We are rising and we are shining as women entrepreneurs, getting morning motivation. And the reason why I decided to start this particular podcast was because I realized that when I wake up every morning, I usually just roll over, grab my phone, hit snooze a couple of times, which is a must. Then I go over to my Bible app. And then once I read my daily devotional, there's usually a chapter that I'm reading, that I'm studying in the Bible. And once I do that, I then jump right into work. I look at emails, I'm answering emails. I'm just doing so much going back and forth that finally I realized that I needed something in between the reading my daily devotionals and jumping into that first cup of coffee for the day. And I wanted something that would help me feel motivated and invigorated, and I wasn't finding that. And so what I normally do is I usually create something wherever there's void. So since I couldn't find it, and trust me, just because I couldn't find it doesn't mean it wasn't there. It just means it was not easily accessible to me. Then I decided to start myself. So what I hope that you get out of this particular podcast is an opportunity for you to be able to just get some morning motivation, whether you listen to me when you are waking up in the morning and you are getting dressed and you are preparing for your day. If you listen to me in your car on your way to work, wherever work is, whether, maybe it's driving to a corporate 9 to 5 because you may be right now a part-time entrepreneur, or if it is just driving into wherever your space is or preparing for wherever your space is, if you work from home or if you have a brick and mortar for your business, I just want to help you jumpstart your day and helping you to just really begin to shift the way your mind is thinking. And so instead of jumping right into this work mode and all of the 10,675 different things that you have to do, I want to first help plant the seed of positivity and help plant the seed of productivity so that you can really shift your mindset before you begin your work. And what you'll notice is that when you have that shift, the way you perceive your tasks and your goals and the things that you're going to accomplish for the day, you will perceive it so much differently than what you have been doing before. So let's not waste any more time. Let's just jump right into it. So what you'll notice is each day I will have a different theme for you. Now, let me just take a step back. Each day I will have a theme for you because this process of giving you morning motivation has to be genuine and authentic to who I am. That means that I need to pray, I want to meditate and really think about some of the messaging that comes into my spirit that I want to share with you. That means that if some days that I feel that we need to discuss in further detail the same theme, then that's what we'll discuss over a number of days. But if something jumps into my spirit and we're going to explore a new theme, then guess what we're going to do? We'll jump into a new theme. So thank you in advance for the flexibility in the organic process of how information will be delivered to you. But today we are going to jump into a theme, and that theme is around growth. So the cool thing about growth for me is that when I spent the holiday season, so fourth quarter of 2017, really thinking about what I wanted my theme to be for my company. Growth was the word that came to me, which is very different than last year. And even the emotion is very different than last year. Last year, I was coming into a space of shedding some of the things from my business that were kind of impacting me negatively financially. And so I became really concerned about how we were going to get branding out there and awareness out there. And I started to focus on those things. And even focusing on those things, I realized fear was causing me to focus on things that would help generate money, but I was not being true to who I was as a purposepreneur. So an entrepreneur who really operates their business fully and wholly in purpose. And so in really stepping into this purposepreneur state of mind towards the end of 2017, I became really focused with making sure that I spend that holiday vacation not working, but meditating and really thinking about what will 2019 look like for me. So Q4 of 2017 is where I was shedding all of that negative financial frustration that allowed me to kind of start my early 2018 in just focusing on branding and awareness. And I felt myself going on this hamster wheel where I was allowing fear to drive my actions. And then I moved into a space of really wanting to focus on being a purposepreneur at the end of 2018. So during that Q4 of 2018, and during that meditation, that growth came to me, that word growth. And so that is something that I want to share with you for this morning's motivation. So this morning, I want you to think about your company and you as the CEO of that company. And I want you to think about growth. The reason why I want you to think about growth is because when we focus about growth, we're going to look at this as a positive way that you are going to flourish and blossom and bloom in 2019 with your business. So remember, as we really begin to explore that theme of growth, we're going to use it looking at two perspectives. So one from the perspective of the business itself, and the second perspective as the business owner, you. So we take care of the business, but we have to take care of you too, because you're the person that's running the business. And if you're down, and if your mind is not in the right space, if you are not clear, if you are not of sound spirit, if you are not healthy, then guess what? Your business will not thrive. So I never just talk about the business, but I also talk about you, the taking care of you piece of it. When I think about growth from the business perspective, I think about it from the space of health and really creating substantial financial wealth. And I want you to begin to take that on in your spirit today. That as you begin to start your day thinking about yourself in a growth spurt and thinking about how you are going to grow and build your business, and if growth is going to be the theme for today, think about how are you setting yourself up to build healthy, substantial, and financial wealth with your business. How are you setting up streams that are flourishing? How are you, it's so funny because when I think of growth, I literally think of green. I don't know why, it's like green, grass, growth, trees. So that's why I use the words of blossom and bloom and flourish, but that really is what it is. You plant a seed in your business, and from that, you water it, you nurture it, you take care of your business, and then it grows. The problem that we have with growth is that we live in a society today where we need immediate gratification. And what happens is that as business owners, as girl bosses, we put something out into the world and we expect immediate response. But if we think about our business as a plant, And if we think about the idea or the product that we put out as a seed, and if we kindly put that seed in the ground, and we water it and we nurture it, and we allow it to grow, that takes time. And it's funny too, because when I think of that analogy, I think of the watering and the nurturing of it, the allowing the sun to shine on it. I think of that as all the different cycles that we go through with our business. I think of the watering and the nurturing of the tending to of the business. So, of course, doing the tactical or operational activities that are necessary in order for our business to operate. But I also think of it from a standpoint of the social media posts that you put up and how you interact with your audience through social media. How do you cultivate and grow your email subscribers? Do you have a relationship with your audience through podcasts, YouTube videos, and blog posts? How do you nurture and sow that seed? And when you are nurturing and sow the seed, when you put water onto a seed doesn't blossom overnight. It still takes time. So because you sent out one newsletter, because you sent out 2 newsletters, I don't care, because you sent out 4 newsletters, it does not mean that because you've done that 4 times, you now are going to get a plant that is going to be green and that's going to flourish or have blossoms of flowers on that. It just means that that's part of the work of tending and nurturing to that seed in order for it to grow. And so when you think about that growth of your business, I want you to think about how are you really taking the time to allow for healthy, substantial financial wealth with your brand and allowing for that growth to happen. And are you really dedicating that time to nurture that seed, which is your business? Also, I want you to think about increase with growth, okay? Because the whole point of us having this conversation around themes every day is so that you are now set with a mindset of what you should be thinking about for this day. And so when we think about now growth, substantial financial wealth, you're going to think about how do you actually have operating costs. I mean, are you operating in the red or are you operating in the black? Do you even know what operating in the red or in the black even means? If your operation costs exceed what you get as far as revenue, that means you're operating in the red. And why are your operating costs exceeding what you bring in? Are there smarter ways for you to do business? And if you don't know, how are you learning? How are you finding out what the industry standard is for the industry that your business is in? This all ties into growth. And that goes into the third piece of it, which is, I'm sorry, I didn't tell you the second piece. The second piece is your increase to the abundance of your clientele. So when you think about that first piece of that healthy, substantial financial wealth with your business, of course, there's going to be some things that add to that. And some of that's going to be coming from your clientele or your customer base. Who are you helping with your brand? When you begin to explore your business or explore who you are as a purposepreneur, you realize that you are conducting business in order to help move your target demographic forward because your business is solving a problem for your targeted demographic. So your target market has a problem. Your business is the solution. So therefore, you are helping them move forward. And it's not an egocentric activity when you are a purposepreneur because you're not only focusing on your wealth. That comes. But what you put first, the way that you're able to show up as a genuine brand, one that is authentic to wanting to support the needs of its actual client, is to understand that because you are a blessing to your clientele, you are focused on their need and how can your need help them. When that becomes the purpose, then you becoming a trusted resource to that target demographic is just a natural, it's just a natural way that things begin to progress. So if I truly focus on the girl boss, then I'm going to be focused on what is her problem? What does she need? How do I put myself in front of her? The age range of my targeted demographic, the salary range, where they go for information. How am I going to place myself in front of them so that they can see I'm here to help them? And when I'm authentic and genuine in helping them, then it doesn't feel that when I am placed in front of them, that I am just trying to do a really sleazy sales pitch of just buy my product or buy my services. The authenticity speaks for itself. And then the natural progression is that what? They feel they can trust the brand, then they buy. Then more buy. And then more buy. And then others tell others about the brand. And then more buy. And so your abundance and the wealth comes. But you have to constantly think about how are you placing yourself in front of your clientele. So I really want you guys to think about, as we're talking about growth, around how are you placing yourself in front of your clientele. And last but not least, because we talked about the two different perspectives of thinking about growth today. So the first one's going to be around business, right? The actual business. And we talked about those in the 2 points around health, substantial, and financial wealth, right? So thinking about that. And then the second point was around the increase of abundance when it comes to clientele. But that other part of it, that you piece of it, how are you growing your knowledge? How are you skill building? How are you really creating a space for yourself where you are an industry expert? That's going to take growth as well. And think about it. The more you know, the more information that you retain, the more skill sets that you're able to get, you really begin to put yourself in a space where you are a better resource for your targeted demographic, because now you have more information and more skill set. You have a different perspective, and now a new way that you look at things, and the way that you're able to create solutions specific for them to be able to grow or to be able to solve their problems. Remember, you have a business because you are solving a problem for that business. So in order for you to be able to really get yourself into the mindset of growth, I want you to be able to practice 3 things today. The first thing is I want you to reflect. When you are in a space of reflection, you are able to identify areas where you need improvement. So for me, I know that I began to focus probably Q2, Q3 of 2018, I began to focus more on creating a signature program from the Prestige Society. And that was something that we really needed to do. And I am so thankful of how the Boss Academy grew from that. Words can't even explain. Super, just like my heart is so full because of the fact that we created a program that helps women not only identify how to become a purposepreneur, but then actually do the building blocks of building their business and then teaching them how to sell with integrity. I mean, this really helps brand new entrepreneurs launch their businesses with confidence that we all know we can all use every now and then when a little gremlin likes to rear its ugly head to tell you that you're not worthy or that you're not enough. So I'm thankful for Q2, Q3 of creating that signature program. But in that, I realized that being that was a season where we needed to create that signature program, because it's an 8-week program and it took a lot of effort for us to really launch that, I wasn't focused on the growth of our chapters within our memberships. I actually closed membership to allow me to focus on that creation of our signature course. And so with that, I realized I really needed to improve on focusing on membership because I wanted to make sure that I have multiple platforms where women entrepreneurs can access information in order for them to win. And I realized everyone can't afford the signature course. So instead of closing it or creating a barrier to them being able to win, I wanted to be able to open the doors and allow more women the opportunity to win and to thrive. And so be cognizant and aware of areas where you need to improve. Organizational skills, like for real. I literally have to get better at organizing, and I committed 2019 to getting super serious about how I plan out my days and being intentional on goals that I am setting for myself. And each goal that I set for myself per day has to roll up to the larger goal that I have for the month, which should roll up to the larger goal that I have for the year. That takes dedication and commitment to make sure that every day you are taking a step towards your goal. But it feels great when you're able to look at what you're able to accomplish every week. So take some time today where you can just write out a list of, what can you improve on this year? What are some areas that you felt that you may have fell short in 2018? And what do you want to do differently about that? So once you're able to identify areas you can improve, reflection also is going to require you to identify new areas that excite you that you absolutely want to explore. And this is where your learning is going to come in. So you want to learn something new. So for me, I decided that I wanted to learn more about what is impacting the entrepreneur. I know that probably sounds silly, but if my business is to help girl bosses, then I need to know what's going on in the world of the entrepreneur in a way that goes far beyond what you know is happening now. Part of my job is to then also identify what are some of the trends that you need to be aware of. So for instance, one of the things that me and a girlfriend were talking about was the tax tariffs that are happening with President Trump with China. And so that impacts anyone who is dealing with goods that are coming from China. So if you have apparel, if you have a hairline where you have bundles that you're selling, all of that is going to impact what you are going to be able to provide to your customers' speed to market, because everything is getting held up in customs super long, more than what has happened in the past because of the issues with the tariffs. And so now entrepreneurs, women bosses, girl bosses need to be aware of this, and they need to be able to identify other areas that they can purchase their goods. And if that means that now that they have to purchase goods for a higher price because they have to get it from other areas, because most people get it from China because it's cheaper, then that means that they have to do their due diligence in researching what that means for them. And so with that, those are some of the things that I want to be able to bring to the forefront. Like, hey, and I'm going to help my clients and my members of the Prestige Society to say, these are some of the trends that you need to be aware of so that they are better off and they have better what we call business intelligence. So business intelligence is data that allows you to make better decisions about how you are going to go about operating your business. So that's something that I want to learn more about. Maybe you're in event planning and you want to learn more about production design instead of just doing event planning for weddings or baby showers. Maybe now you want to move into creating wonderful set designs for summits and conferences and things of that nature, where people need that skill set. And this now opens up an additional stream of income for you. If you are a realtor, maybe now you want to look at staging or look at other opportunities. So if you do stage design, now whenever you have a lull period where you don't have people buying or selling their homes, now you can help maybe new real estate developers who need to have their modeled homes actually staged or designed, and you can go ahead and do that. Or if you don't have access to certain clientele, maybe now you can then outsource your skill sets in staging for those to other real estate agents who may experience certain clients whose home just needs that additional touch because the way that it is staged currently, it's not helping them move the home off the market. So honestly, the opportunities are endless, but you now get the opportunity to decide, what is it that you want to do? How can you learn something new? What excites you? I've been watching this show on Netflix called Spark Joy. Or no, it's called Tidying Up, but it's from a woman who wrote a book called Spark Joy. And whenever she wants someone to know what to keep and what to throw away, she asks them to hold it. And if it sparks joy, then those are the things you should keep. And so I challenge you to think about some of those things that you want to learn and what sparks joy for you, so that now you know what it is that you need to be able to focus on and be able to just really introduce to your new list of things that you want to focus on. And this is all going to be geared towards how you grow and grow as that standard, or not standard, but that subject matter expert in your industry. Because a lot of you want to go and speak, and a lot of you want to go and do new things. Well, guess what? If you can position yourself as a subject matter expert in your industry, that is how you position yourself. So think about some of those things that you want to explore. Next, I want you to wear the lens of a student in everything that you do. So when you go out today and you know that the theme for today is growth, I want you to think about what can you learn from today, from the interactions that you're having with your clients, with interactions that you're having with your team, with conversations that you may be having during meetings, with emails that you're reading, with with an article that you're reading or a white paper that you may be reading. Whatever the case may be, you are constantly being fed information. And sometimes we completely allow things to go over our heads because we're not aware. Because we have blinders on, and all we know is that we're just doing these tactical activities every day. It's almost like being a zombie. You're just walking through life. So wearing a lens of a student allows you to awaken your senses and think about how can you apply something. One of the things I've learned when I was in grad school was about how to do benchmarking across industries. And what that forced me to do is always be open to think about what is something that I'm learning here and how can I apply this to something completely different, but where I can find areas of synergy. So for instance, in the past, I worked on a project where I noticed that I'm literally working on a project. I'm in a warehouse and we're implementing a new system for a well-known home appliance company. And one of the things that I noticed was that although this new system was brand spanking new and it was supposed to do something phenomenal for this customer, by giving them access to insight to their inventory, it was supposed to let people know exactly where items were. Well, what I noticed was that when we flipped the switch, all hell broke loose. And I could not understand what happened. And then I realized, boom, their foundation was completely broken. They had problems with their employees. They had problems with the way that the information was being input into the system prior to us going live, which meant bad information in means bad information out. And I said, oh my goodness. And it sparked a whole idea for me to write a blog, and it was called Hot Mess and Company. And it was all a blog I wrote to girl bosses, which said, hey, when you start that brand new website or have that brand new idea for a new t-shirt line, guess what? If the foundation of your business is not sound, that new brand new thing that you have will fail. And I was able to help women understand the importance of looking at the foundation of their business. Two very different experiences, but I was able to have a lens of a student where I could see that opportunity and then do what? Boom. Put it right towards going into helping my targeted demographic. That's what I want you to do. I want you to take the blinders off today. And I want you to begin to think about how are you going to be a student of your life so that you can now learn how to help your target demographic. And it will give you so much more perspective. It doesn't just help your clients, it helps you as well. And I also want you to dedicate time to learn. Put it in your planner. I dedicate R&D days. Wednesdays for me are my Wisdom Wednesdays, which then equate to research and development. So my R&D days are times where I look up articles, read white papers. White papers are academic papers written from scholars who are researching a particular topic. So whatever it is that you're doing, look at these things. There's information out there and dedicate time. Dedicate an hour to research what's going on in your industry or research something that's going to help you with your growth. So that way you are constantly learning. If you do not plan for it, it will not happen. The third step that I want you to take today, and just so that we can go back so you know what your steps are, your first step is going to be reflection. Reflection and identifying where can you improve? And then also, what are some new areas to reflect and identify? Some new areas that actually excite you so that you are now inspired to explore something new. Your second step for today is wearing the lens of the student, where this is going to allow you to really take on all of your new experiences in life with a fresh new lens, where you're not just taking them as things that are just happening to you, but you're realizing something's happening to you for a reason, and you're going to figure out how does that then connect to what you're going to apply for your business. Thirdly, I want you to take on vulnerability. And the reason why you're going to take on vulnerability is because allowing yourself to be vulnerable is going to allow you to then take down the wall, whatever defense mechanism you may have, whatever hardened wall that's there, and that's usually created by self-doubt, insecurity. All of those things create a wall that do not allow you to have a new perspective of learning something new. And let me explain to you why. Insecurity then births being defensive. Being defensive births self-doubt. So let me tell you what that looks like. If you're insecure, when someone speaks to your insecurity, you are automatically defensive and you will put up a wall. What happens is that you're not able to hear anything that will allow you to learn from that. And then what ends up happening is that then you'll have self-doubt. And so, for instance, if someone tells you, let's say it's a client, and they say they're really frustrated because they did not receive a product in a certain amount of time. Okay, defense wall comes up and you go, oh, well, it takes me this long to create this product. This is how long it takes for me to get there, to be able to ship this out. So it's just what it is. And now you have a wall up. Then self-doubt comes in, and self-doubt will tell you, this is why you can't be successful. You don't have the right clients, and therefore you really don't even know if this is the business for you. Nothing in that whole frame of thought is going to allow you to be productive. Nothing. There's nothing that you learned from that. So if someone says it takes long for you to be able to give a product, then I would research some people in my industry to see how long does it take from speed to market, which means how long does it take for you to make a product, ship a product, and for that product to get to your customer. And if you notice that your average, let's say your average is 15 days. I know that sounds really long, but let's just say it is. So if your average is 15 days and you have not stated as such on your website, then you know what happens? Let's say your competitor has a different way that they make the product to get it from speed to market. And let's say their turnaround day is going to be 10 days. So from the time they make it to the time it's shipped out, if it's ground shipping, it's 10 days. That literally gives your competition a competitive edge over you. And then if you never research it and you have a defensive wall and you're not vulnerable enough to learn from the information, that means that you've missed opportunities for growth. You've missed opportunities for improvement. So vulnerability is not a sense of weakness. Vulnerability allows you to be able to listen to feedback that matters, because we know that feedback can also be hurtful. So it allows you to listen to the right feedback, and it allows you to learn from that feedback, and it also allows you to take action so that you can do the right research to see what you need to do differently moving forward. So therefore, you are able to be more productive in how you operate your business, which allows you to do what? It allows you to have growth. So growth is our word for the day. And with that, I'm going to say, I hope that you are able to blossom and grow and build your business on purpose. Remember that growth is not just for you, but growth is also for the business model as well, where we're building substantial and financial wealth, increasing the abundance of our clientele, and allowing you to grow your knowledge and your skill set. This is your girl, Nicole Doss. I hope you have an awesome, wonderful day. Thank you for joining me on Rise and Shine. Bye.